Hello there, my name is Richard McMunn from the career recruitment website howtobecome.com, and in this tutorial I'm going to give you 7 brilliant tips for passing the Royal Navy Officer Admiralty Interview Board. So if you are required to go to the AIB at any point in the not too distant future, please do make sure you watch this tutorial from beginning to end, because I have some brilliant tips to help you prepare effectively and, more importantly, pass the Admiralty Interview Board. Now, before I do that, a very warm welcome to this Admiralty Interview Board training tutorial. My name is Richard McMunn. That's me there in the centre of the screen. I've been helping people to pass their interviews and their assessment centres for about 20 years now, and I'm going to do that specifically in this tutorial by giving you top tips for passing the Royal Navy Officer AIB. I am a former member of the Royal Navy myself. I was also a fire officer for 17 years, so I have a lot of experience of leadership and management. On that basis, please do make sure you subscribe to my channel by clicking the button below the video, and then you won't miss out on any of the weekly training videos I am uploading. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn if you want to. My LinkedIn link is in the description below the video. It's always good to connect with like-minded professionals such as yourself. I would also very much appreciate your support if you gave the video a like, because that tells me you enjoy the content, and I will therefore spend time creating more for you. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get into those 7 Admiralty Interview Board tips to help you prepare effectively. I recommend you take notes as I progress. Now, the first one, and one of the most important tips for passing the Royal Navy Officer selection process, is to focus on demonstrating the accessible leadership competencies throughout the Admiralty Interview Board. I will tell you what those leadership competencies are in a second. Now, it's important to stress that throughout the AIB and the entire Royal Navy Officer selection process, the assessors are looking for your potential to become an outstanding leader within the Royal Navy. So we need to think about how we're going to demonstrate these throughout the AIB. So what are those accessible leadership competencies? Well, you are going to be assessed against your interpersonal competencies, your problem-solving competencies, and also character competencies. So there's 3 very specific competencies that form part of the selection criteria. So what are those? Well, interpersonal competencies, they basically assess your ability to interact with other people throughout the AIB. They assess your ability to work as part of a team, because even though you are going there to demonstrate your leadership capabilities, you are very much being assessed against your ability to work with others as part of a team. So demonstrate effective teamwork at all times. You also have to communicate clearly with everybody throughout the AIB, and also influence them to follow your course of action. And as we progress through this tutorial, I'll give you some great tips on how you can achieve the competency of interpersonal skills. Now, let's move on to problem-solving competencies. What does this mean? Well, problem-solving competencies assess your ability to basically gather, disseminate, and then utilize resources and information quickly. So you have to act very quickly throughout all of the assessments. You want to get things done with a sense of urgency. Make sure you take a note of that. So they are looking to see whether or not you have the capacity to solve difficult and challenging problems. And in particular, these will be assessed throughout the practical leadership task and also the planning exercise, which again, I will talk about in more detail in a second. And then finally, those character competencies. This assesses your strength of character, and in particular, how you react in given situations, and also your levels of integrity and self-motivation. You have to really want this. Okay, so they assess your strength of character, and in particular, when things are not going well, which is going to happen during the AIB. You're not going to be able to breeze through everything. When things are going wrong, how do you react? So let me have a look at some 3 leadership competencies tips to help you demonstrate the competencies throughout the duration of the Admiralty Interview Board. Tip number 1. Make sure you communicate loud and clear with the other candidates at the AIB. So if you are in command of the practical leadership task, give your team a clear brief. Make sure you encourage them vocally throughout the task. Make sure you praise them if they're doing well. So say to them, you're doing a great job here, team. keep going and support them. So you can say, if anyone's having any problems with a task, put your hand up and let me know. Okay, so support your team. So brief the team, encourage them, praise them, and support them. So how do you brief the team at the start of the practical leadership task? Well, I recommend that you use a process which is called SMEAC. That's situation, mission, execution, asking questions, and clarification. So you start off and you say to the team who you are briefing, the situation is we are here at the Admiralty Interview Board. Our mission is that we have to get this object over to that position over there. This is how we're going to execute our mission. And then you would allocate the tasks and tell people what they are going to do. And then the A part of SMEAC is asking questions. Does anybody have any questions? And then C is to clarify. Can everyone confirm that they understand exactly what they are doing? So just to confirm, it's SMEAC: situation, mission, execution, asking questions, and then confirmation or clarification. And if you remember that, that's a great process to follow, that you can communicate effectively. So tip number 2, make sure you use as much available information as possible to solve the problems you will encounter both during the planning exercise and also the practical leadership task. So throughout those, if you are unsure of what to do, there's nothing wrong with asking other people in the team for their opinions or whether somebody's got any idea of how we can solve this problem, because what you are doing there is using your team's strengths. So I would be saying to people, have we got anybody here who is good at tying knots? Okay, you're going to be in charge of knot tying. You would say, who's good at keeping the time? Right, you can keep the time. So make sure you use as much available resources and information as possible. You can still be in control and in command, even though you're going to be using other people and their views and opinions on how to do things. And then tip number 3, when things are not going according to plan, which is going to happen during the AIB, just remember that things won't always go smoothly. This is when you are really being assessed. So at this stage, make sure you show grit and determination. Don't blame people if things go wrong. Take ownership of situations. Don't give in and keep going until the very end. You do not have to necessarily achieve the practical leadership task or the planning exercises within the allocated time. But if you keep going and you are self-motivated and you show real grit and determination, come on, we can do this. Let's explore other options. Have a sense of urgency. Communicate with everybody throughout each of the planning exercises and the PLT. You can still pass. Okay, so remember that. You've got to show grit and determination. So 3 really good tips there. Take a note of them and remember them throughout the Admiralty Interview Board. Okay, let's move on to Admiralty Interview Board tip number 2. Make sure you carry out lots of planning exercise practice before you go to the AIB. Now, I believe that the planning exercise is one of the toughest elements of the AIB. In my opinion, it's the hardest part. Now, with a planning exercise, it's a written exercise where you have to decide how you're going to complete a task, solve a problem based on the information that you are given. You are under pressure. Okay, there'll be a time limit that you have to complete this by. Now, the only way that you will gain confidence with the planning exercise is to try out lots of them before you attend the AIB. Now, don't go anywhere, don't go off the video, but if you click that link when you're ready in the top right-hand corner of the video, it will take you through to my website here, where you can download 15 great planning exercises. So I have personally written these planning exercises. They are of varying degrees of difficulty, and they literally cost £15 for 15. So they're only £1 each. My advice is to get a copy of those because you can start practicing them at home. They're in PDF format, so you don't have to wait for them to be delivered in the post. But they are great practice for your Admiralty Interview Board. Okay, my next tip, Admiralty Interview Board tip number 3, is to really get good at speed, distance and time. Now, you're going to need speed, distance and time calculations throughout the planning exercises. So what you want to do is, again, carry out lots of practice of speed, distance and time. Now, let me just give you a quick tip before I give you some useful free resources to help you practice SDT questions. So accuracy with speed, distance and time, and your agility with regards to speed, distance and time calculations is really important during specific aspects of the Royal Navy officer selection process. If you are good at speed, distance and time, it will help you to perform well in the planning exercise. And it's essential that you learn and master the different calculations. My advice is to be good at writing them down, but also be able to answer them in your head. So these are the formulas for speed, distance, and time. So to calculate speed, it is distance divided by time. To calculate distance, it's speed multiplied by time. And to calculate time, it's distance over speed. Now, if you take a note of this triangle and where the distance, speed, and time are, if you remember that before you go to the Admiralty Interview Board, it will help you. So if you are trying to work out speed, all you do is like put your thumb over speed, and then that gives you the calculation, which is distance over time. If you're trying to work out distance, you put your thumb over that, and you can see it's speed multiplied by time. And then finally, if you want to know the time, it's distance over speed. So that is a great triangle to help you learn speed, distance, and time calculations. Now, let me give you a free resource to help you. If you go to the website speeddistancetime.info, I'll just let you take a note of that. Then I have a free website where you can practice lots of these questions, both in written format and also in your head. I believe strongly that if you get really good at speed, distance, and time calculations in your head, you will be at a greater advantage than the majority of candidates. Most candidates will learn how to carry out speed, distance, and time calculations by writing them down, but they won't be able to do them out loud in their head. So if we just head over to this speed, distance, and time website. So this is my website here. Here is the test, speed, distance, and time. And here's a question: what speed covers 90 miles in 1 hour? So you can put your answers in there and then click submit. So it'll take you through to the home page where you go through. I've created it specifically for RAF officer selection process, but it's perfect for AIB as well. And then all you need to do is click that part, speed, distance, and time test. There's also some bundle packs there on the page if you want to download and really take your preparation to the next level. But that's a great website to use. Okay, the next Admiralty Interview Board. Tip number 4 of number 7. Make sure you improve your current affairs knowledge. So current affairs is your knowledge of what's going on in the world right now. And my advice is to really think about what's been going on around the world and also locally in the UK within the last 12 months, but really drill down on current affairs subjects in the last 6 months. So what questions could you get asked at the interview about current affairs? They might say to you, how do you keep up to date with current affairs? And I'll give you a couple of resources in a minute, which I recommend you study. The other question that I want you to prepare for is, tell me about 3 current affairs topics from overseas and 3 from home. And in particular, give me your opinion on each of them. And you have to make sure that you have an opinion and stick with it, because they will try and sway you from your opinion. Okay, now you're not going to be arguing with the assessors, but stick by your opinion and give them reasons why you believe, the choices that you do with regards to the current affairs topics. So there are a couple of websites I recommend you look at. The first one is theweek.co.uk, which is an appraisal down of what's been going on in the last week. And the other one is The Economist. I recommend you look at those 2 websites. If I quickly take you to those, you can see here theweek.co.uk. You can see there's a daily briefing every day. If you read this every day, then your current affairs will soon get up to speed. And also The Economist, which is economist.com. If you scroll down, there's loads of great information. You don't need to necessarily go out and buy a newspaper. I would be subscribing to The Week and The Economist. If I was personally going to choose a newspaper, I would read The Times. But those would be the 3 resources: The Times, theweek.co.uk, and theeconomist.com. Now, you'd need to subscribe to these, but they're great websites in your preparation for Royal Navy Officer Admiralty Interview Board selection. So that's my recommended current affairs reading. Let's move on now to Admiralty Interview Board tip number 5. Don't forget, I hope you're enjoying these. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Thank you. Make sure you have examples ready of when you have previously demonstrated leadership potential. You could get asked an interview question that goes, can you give me an example of when you've previously demonstrated leadership skills? So if you are applying to become an officer in the Royal Navy, which is an amazing organisation, I loved my time in there, you have to be able to show that you're a leader. So if they're going to take you on board as an officer, they're not going to gamble on anybody who's got no prior leadership skill potential. Now, you don't have had to held a leadership role as a manager in an organisation to prove that you have leadership potential. Let me give you 4 examples of leadership potential Number one might be encouraging your work colleagues to embrace change positively within an organisation, for example, where you say to everyone, come on, everybody, let's embrace the change. Let's work as part of a team to take on board these changes that have come through. Most people don't like change in an organisation, but you could be that person who encourages them. Second example of leadership potential is remaining calm under pressure when you've been confronted with a stressful situation, for example. Like many a time when I was working in the fire service, I would take control of large incidents and I had to remain calm under pressure. Now, of course, you won't have been in those kind of situations. However, you may have come across a road traffic accident before where you took control and allocated resources, called 999 and helped out by giving first aid, for example. That's showing leadership potential. Number three, being the person who steps up and takes responsibility to sort out a problem at work, throughout your education, or at home. And then number four, influencing someone to choose your course of action or your recommendation. Now, those are four examples of demonstrating leadership potential. You could also read leadership books. Go onto Amazon, have a look for some leadership books. And if you haven't got much experience of leadership, you can say, well, I've not got much experience, but I've been reading up on it. I've been reading a number of leadership books, and these are the ones that I've read, and this is what I took from it, because that shows that you're self-motivated. Let's have a look at Admiralty Interview Board tip number 6. This is really important as well. Be strong on your Royal Navy and military knowledge. Now, make sure you include NATO in your research and also the Royal Marines. So if you're applying to become a Royal Navy officer, don't neglect the Royal Marines in your research. And these are the things that I recommend you practice. Here's a checklist with some links. So study the Royal Navy website in detail, and in particular, learn the following: history of the Royal Navy ships, organisational structure, aircraft. Even if you're not applying to join the Fleet Air Arm, still learn about aircraft, location of naval bases and stations, the senior staff within the Royal Navy, and latest news. Make sure you also find out about Royal Navy operations. So they might say, where is the Royal Navy operating right now? What are we doing around the world? Now, what I've done is in the description below the video, I've put all of these links for you so you can go straight through to them. Those are the things that I would concentrate the majority of my research on in regards to Royal Navy and military knowledge. So that's a checklist for you. So, Admiralty Interview Board tip number 7, prepare for the following Royal Navy officer interview questions, okay? So, why do you want to join the Royal Navy and not the Royal Air Force or the Army? So why do you want to join the Royal Navy and not the Royal Air Force or the Army? Why do you want to become an officer in the Royal Navy? What's the difference between leadership and management? Tell me what you know about Royal Navy officer training, and in which aspects will you find the most challenging, and describe a situation in which you have shown moral courage. So there are a few questions there I want you to prepare for, and to help you, I've created another video here on YouTube. If you click that link in the top right hand corner of the video, it takes you through to where that video is, and I give you suggested answers to those exact interview questions. It's a great video. Make sure you watch that as well during your preparation. So I've put the link to all of the suggested links and recommended resources I cover in this video in the description below here for you. Make sure you check it out. If you would like to accelerate your learning, I do have an online Royal Navy officer training course that will help you throughout the AIB. If you click that link in the top right hand corner, it takes you through to that page where you can get access to it. Hope you've enjoyed that quick whistle-stop tour of my tips for passing the Admiralty Interview Board. The Royal Navy is a great career, but make sure you prepare for it fully. Give it your all during your preparation. Don't leave any stone unturned. It'll be worth the extra effort. Don't forget to subscribe. Please hit the like button. Thanks for watching, and I wish you all the best for passing Royal Navy officer selection process. Thank you.